Welcome to a breaking and special edition of the Nightly Nuge. Ted, yesterday, when I last saw you, we were talking about the corruption in the Department of Justice and the FBI. We were talking about how the FBI was using symbols like the come and take it, the don't tread on me, to attack American citizens. Something happened yesterday, Ted, that's never happened in the history of our country. A former U.S. president who is not only a former president, but he is the front runner if he chooses to decide to run for president in 2024 in every poll. His house was raided with armed federal FBI agents, Ted. This is unprecedented times. And I just think that our listeners deserve to hear you and I discuss and walk through this, because there's people at home that are scared to death right now, Ted. There's people at home that are listening that have shirts and boots and hats and flags that say all these things. And in their mind, they're thinking, Ted, if this can happen to President Trump, none of us are safe, Ted. Are they right? And what's your take on what happened yesterday to President Trump and his family and his home?
Father in heaven, look down on America and give us strength to stand for your miraculous creation and the divine intervention that created the only experiment of freedom and self-government in the history of mankind. We, the people of America, apologize, Lord, for bending over and becoming spoiled and not participating, not performing our intellectual, patriotic, and spiritual responsibilities to be hands-on, boots-on-the-ground participants in this sacred experiment in self-government. We apologize for being fat and happy with the indulgences that this freedom has provided us instead of fighting for those freedoms and those rights. We apologize, and on bended knee, we seek your strength and your guidance now more than ever. This treachery and this evil running amok that was manifested yesterday, where the most powerful gun-toting, jackbooted thugs in the world will attack and raid a great man like Donald Trump, whose every maneuver made America stronger, safer, prouder, more productive, and more spiritual. Keith, you've seen me on stage. I've been doing it condemning abuse of power. And people go, Nugent's too political. No, I participate and perform my duties as an experimenter in self-government. I am we the people. We must see the specific language in the FBI's search warrant, because I was jackbooted years ago, because a mile from my home, Keith, was a hole in a horse trailer. Back then, the FBI and the state troopers and the sheriff department would come and train on my Jackson County range. And I have a 60-foot wall of dirt that we shoot to the west at my gun range. And a neighbor who I caught his son trespassing one time thought he'd get even and told the state police that Ted Nugent was shooting machine guns towards his home. And at 11 o'clock at night, two soulless, punk-ass, jackbooted thug sheep of the Michigan State Police, most of whom are real warriors. I know these guys. I train with these guys. But two puppets came and forced their way into my home late at night. I'm in my underwear. And they executed a search warrant looking for machine guns, illegal handguns, 10 millimeter and 40 caliber ammo and weaponry. And they took a truckload of my firearms and ammunition based on a hole in a horse trailer southeast of my home when my gun range faces west. I know what it's like. I was scared to death. And Razor Dobbs was upstairs in his underwear. And I said, Razor, get the camera. Record these guys. Film this. And I went up to these state troopers and I went, how dare you? How dare you come to the most law-abiding American citizen's home with this fake search warrant? I know the hives and the fear. And because I followed up with then Governor John Engler and the district attorney, Mickey Mortimer, at daybreak the next day, Mickey Mortimer came back with all my guns and all my ammo that had already been flagged in the evidence department and apologized.
You know what, Ted, you raised some very good points in there, obviously all good points, but let's just walk through this for our listeners. So it was conclusively established that the Hillary Clinton campaign paid for a foreign operative to create illegal and false information against Donald Trump, which started the Russia hoax, the whole thing. It was proven. That's not my opinion. It's not yours. That was proven. Also, while we're on the topic of Hillary Clinton, while under congressional subpoena, she destroyed servers and documents and phones to the point acid washed them to that they couldn't be read. Was her home invaded in the middle of the night? While we're on the Clintons, we know he was on the plane with Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know a lot of the people because that's been kept a secret, but we do know that former President Clinton was on there. Has his home been raided to look at his documents in his computer by the FBI? That's no. We know that we have a sitting House of Representative, a Congressman, Eric Swalwell, out in California, that was known to have an affair with a Chinese spy. What he told her, how complicit he was, we don't know, because was his home invaded by the FBI? No, it wasn't. President Trump, because of the Russian hoax, he was impeached. And it ruined his presidency or damaged it for the entire 4 years. Ted, listen, for our people out there at home, I mean, this is a watershed moment in our country. Dan Bongino, he railed last night. I'm sure you saw it. He called this complete bullshit and what you would see in a banana republic.
Yes.
And so, Ted, we clearly see a weaponized DOJ. As an attorney, I know for a fact that there is no way that this didn't get signed off on at the highest level of the FBI, which is Christopher Wray, who you identified yesterday as an enemy of America and the good folks of America. There is no way this wasn't signed off by the Attorney General Merrick Garland, who has an axe to grind because he feels he was passed over for the Supreme Court by President Trump. This is a watershed moment, Ted. I went to bed last night and woke up fearful for my safety. I'm a law-abiding human being. What we're doing is we're just trying to point out to our listeners the corruption that is out there that they may not be, well, I know they're not hearing about anywhere except from your mouth on the nightly Nuge. And I'm terrified for myself and my family. I'm terrified for you and your family, Ted. I'm terrified for all of those people that have flown Trump flags, flown the Goliad flag, flown the Don't Tread on Me flag, because we now know that they're coming after us and they want us to go into hiding. They've attacked President Trump, who has been a leader for Make America Great, patriots like you and I. And I know, Ted, there are people out there that feel, listen, I'm going to pipe down. I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to be vocal anymore, because if they're willing to do this to President Trump, rest assured they will come to Ted Nugent's, Keith Marks, and Joe Blow and Susie Smith's home all across the country. What's your message to those people out there that are terrified for their own families and their safety right now?
Here's what we need to do. We are experiencing this cultural deprivation and suicide because way too many Americans are comfy, spoiled, and disengaged. An experiment in self-government demands engagement, participation.
Yes.
I have been attacked my entire career since the 1960s. Nugent's a radical. He believes that he can carry a gun. Yeah, keep and bear arms. It comes from God. Founding fathers wrote it down in case somebody wanted to play King George again. Well, Nugent's radical. He's like, too political. Too political? Well, then move to Cuba where you're not allowed to be political. If you don't want to be political, then don't experiment in self-government. The Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States military, Mark Milley, admitted on TV that he called the leader of the Communist Chinese army to warn our enemy what our plans are. And his home is not raided. So, America, please listen to me. This is not a guitar player's hunch. I have unlimited evidence to support. And even a California court decided what the guitar player decided long ago, that America's experiment in self-government is about U.S. citizens that are alive get one vote each to make sure that our representatives in government represent the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, law and order. If you're not voting, Nancy Pelosi is spitting in your face with glee. Please. It sounds too simple to be true, but the simplicity of abandoning our responsibilities of experimenting in self-government is why this atrocity is unfolding.
That's right.
HunterNation.org. My God, it's that simple. Join Keith and I and an army of conservatives at HunterNation.org. Just go there. Just pledge that we will so overwhelm the corruption with conservative votes. I won't even tell you who to vote for. Vet the candidates. My friends, HunterNation.org. Just become a part of the conservative army. And another website, HuntTheVote.org. HunterNation.org. and huntthevote.org. If we don't vote like an unprecedented, voluminous army of conservatives, we are done. And that's why they raided Donald Trump's home, to shut you down, to put fear in you. Well, instead of being afraid, stand taller. Demand more constitutional accountability. Call your mayor, your senator, your congressman, and governor, and condemn the raid on Donald Trump's home. If you don't condemn it to your elected employees, they will continue to abuse more power and hurt more good Americans. It's that simple, Keith. Remain peaceful. Yes. Don't be incited to any violence. No vandalism, no terrorism, no arson. Let the other side continue to degrade their reputation and their soul. The conservatives stand strong. Remain peaceful. Like on January 6th, I am repeating what President Trump said. Remain peaceful. No vandalism, no violence, no crime. Stand your ground peaceably. We can do this. We are at a crossroads in America for tyranny versus freedom. My fellow Spirit of the Wild families, please, it's so simple. We can help you. HunterNation.org and Hunt the Vote will help guide you to registering to vote. We won't tell you who to vote for, but make sure you really, really examine the candidates. And if they stand up for the things you believe in, unambiguously and uncompromisingly, vote for them. It's so simple, Keith. We are an army of conservatives and conservationists, and if we vote en masse, America will be that shining city on the hill again, based on conservation, conservative values, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, and people who make risks and sacrifices to be in the asset column. It must end, and it must end now.
You gave me goosebumps, Ted. Very powerful stuff. I hope our listeners take heed, spread the word, because there's no fake news here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nightly Nuge. Come back tomorrow, and we'll have more right here. God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Keith. Stand strong. I'm very emotional, but that's good because my emotions drive my activism. I am an experimenter in self-government. I am a we the people American. I will not be backed away.